Last week in Hamilton, Ireland gave the All Blacks some nervous moments before the home side got the win. Tonight here at Eden Park, the Irish get another opportunity to grab their first victory over New Zealand in 101 years of trying. Yes, it's Test 2 in the All Blacks international program for 2006, and we've had a good deal of rain here in Auckland in the past 24 hours, which will affect ground conditions and mean a slippery ball, but there's no wind and a pretty good crowd in attendance, but certainly under capacity here tonight. So this is Test 2, and we have the opportunity to welcome our international audience wherever you are around the world watching this game, particularly to the New Zealand military personnel who may be watching this in Afghanistan and maybe East Timor, as we look under the dressing room at the All Blacks preparing for this international, this important game, the second of the season. Also welcome our viewers in the United Kingdom through B-Sky B, particularly those of you in Ireland, expatriate Kiwis, and those of you in County Kildare. Also throughout Asia, North and South America, particularly again to the All Blacks in Buenos Aires, who'll be up in the early hours watching this, no doubt, through Fox Sport in Australia, Super Sport even there in South Africa, the Pacific Islands, New Zealand, of course, Sky Sport and the Rugby Channel, and also our viewers in the Chatham Islands. It's a great setting, Eden Park. It's a marvellous rugby venue, and John Drake, plenty of anticipation.
Oh, there certainly is after last week, when Ireland, you've got to say, gave the All Blacks a fright for 65 minutes. It'll be interesting to see what they can do tonight. The conditions, well, they just might suit the Irish tonight.
So onto the park comes Ireland. An unchanged forward pack from last week, and one man who impressed in Hamilton is blindside flanker Neil Best, the only non-Munster man in the pack. Best is confrontational and in difficult conditions tonight, could be a handful. A lot will be asked again tonight of Paul O'Connell, and also the front row, which was under real pressure last Saturday. It's also the same backline as last week. Much of the spotlight will be on first 5'8" Ronan O'Gara. He didn't have a great Lions tour in 2005, but O'Gara showed last week that he has a tactical brain, which in these conditions could be handy. Let's hope we get another chance too to admire the class of Brian O'Driscoll, the captain. So into a huddle they go, and now the All Blacks, led out once again by Richie McCaw. Couple of changes in this pack from last week, and a test debut for Jerome Kaino after his All Black debut 18 months ago. Injuries have halted his progress, but he gets his big opportunity here at Eden Park tonight. The other change sees the elevation of Troy Flavell to the starting lineup at the expense of Greg Rawlinson. It's Flavell's first start in a test for 5 years. The only change in the back division, Casey Laulala for Ma'a Nonu at centre. Laulala made his test debut in Wales in late 2004, but an average 2005 dent in his aspirations. However, he's back after a very solid 14. A Super 14 faces the daunting task of marking O'Driscoll. So the two teams now lining up in front of the main grandstand here at Eden Park for the respective national anthems, and Ireland's call from Sean Kelly.
Our country's call from the
surprising, wasn't it, from Sean Kelly, Ireland's call, now the New Zealand national anthem, to be sung by Will Martin. Beautifully sung too by Will Martin. The scene at Eden Park as the All Blacks prepare to do the haka. Plenty of passion in that one, Drakey.
Oh, yes. And the Irish showed the respect of it too. So let's get on with it, I think everyone's thinking.
Let's quickly go sideline. Ian Smith down there tonight. Conditions, Smithy?
Well, just starting to rain this, but let's hope it goes away because it might detract from what is going to be an absorbing contest. Actually, both sides have been very happy with the playing surface on the basis that it is drying a lot better these days at Eden Park. So we'll just see how that plays a part. But we're very reliant on what comes down from above. So ball control will be of the ultimate. And Graham Henry, as he looks out of his window from above, is looking for a much, much better, faster start from the All Blacks.
One of the very best. Jonathan Kaplan running the show here tonight. '20th international between these rugby nations. Casey Laulala playing just in his second test match tonight. Jerome Kaino on test debut. And Troy Flavell in the starting lineup for the first time in 5 years. Jonathan Kaplan checking that everybody's ready to go. Blows the whistle and the second test match at Eden Park is underway. Lined up by Keven Mealamu. And the All Blacks set it just out from their own 22. Kelleher back to Luke McAlister. Drills it straight down the middle where Geordan Murphy is waiting. And he will return it. This one is high. And taken by McAlister, and he calls for the mark. He wants to kick it quickly, he does so. Once again, not looking for the touchlines. Ireland decide to bring it back, and it's a bit slippery for O'Driscoll. that could be a sign of things to come. There's been a lot of rain. It's a slippery surface. And he ran it onto the cricket block too. And it's just a little breezier there as the kick is made a crossfield by O'Gara. Looking to bring the ball under control. It's untidy. Taken in by Laulala. And it's 15 out from the 22. And Kelleher clears it off quickly to Muliaina. All Blacks running it here through Rokocoko. Showing his pace. Turns it back inside to Dermody. And the Southland prop as the ball goes back. And Carl Hayman does well to recover. He slipped. Now McAlister. A lot of movement early on as McCaw has it. But the Irish defence was very solid in Hamilton, and it's standing up well in the early stages here. McAlister looking to free up Muliaina. Gets dragged down in the finish by Neil Best. And the ball is there. Again, Muliaina trying to step his way through.
Hold there, hold! 7.
Once again it comes, this time to Major. Now it's McCaw. So'oialo looking to bust his way past the tackle of Darcy. A long opening sequence. Kaino, a little shift with his feet, and he goes to the 10-metre line. Now Kelleher off to McAlister. Charge in midfield from Troy Flavell, but it's a penalty as he ran interference taken by the Irish. They want to go quickly as well. O'Connell took it, and it's on the ground with Marcus Horan. Now Stringer gets it away, playing an advantage. Obviously the All Blacks are offside, and indeed they were, and maybe they played it on the ground, and there's perhaps a chance for O'Gara to kick for goal.
Well, you'd think so, and I was just going to ask you, Smithy, we're up a lot higher than you, and there is a slight breeze maybe favouring the Irish.
No, Drake, as I look at the flags above the west stand, they're almost motionless, so at the moment no breeze. So this is a kick fair on 50 metres. It was Dermody who was penalised there, playing the ball on the ground with his hand. But a pretty good start by the All Blacks in terms of putting phases together without mistakes. But equally good, Drakey, was the Irish defence once again.
Yes, and I was a bit surprised actually. The All Blacks kicked the first couple of times they got it. They kicked downtown. They didn't actually go for touch. I'd expect a lot more kicking, and I think Ireland, they'll go for the high up and under a lot, and they'll just rely on the kind of scattery attack that they've got to unsettle the All Blacks. So interesting already.
50-metre kick for Ronan O'Gara with light rain falling at Eden Park. Distance is short, just under. Taken by Major, and they'll be back to the 22. So close on, 3 minutes gone on the test at Eden Park. No score. And no set play either. McAlister once again down the centre it goes. Murphy, who had a strong test match in Hamilton, looking to run it back. Dumped by McCaw, lost it.
Kick back by Green.
And the All Blacks have a big opportunity to turn this one quickly to their advantage as Major puts it in behind them. Howlett is steaming up here. And here's Darcy in a bit of trouble. The All Blacks will look to drive him back over the line. Now Stringer has to make the clearance. And they did well in the finish, Ireland, to get out of that. It was a very clever kick through by Major.
Yes, and I think, Nisbo, that's going to signal how the All Blacks are going to play it. Just kick it down. They're obviously concerned about the Irish line out. So they're not going to kick it out and force the Irish to kick it out after them. They did get numbers back here quickly, Ireland, and they needed to.
First line out is a clean one for Jack. The All Blacks are going to drive this. They've still got 15 metres to go. Good progress here. On the 5-metre mark. Now Kelleher frees it away. Popped up to Laulala. And he once again gets to the 5-metre mark. Looking for quick ball. They're getting it too. Turned back on the inside for Flavell. Held up right on the line. Kelleher can see it. Has a go himself. Jonathan Kaplan has a look and he's going to ask. He's not sure. I think Byron Kelleher believes he's made it.
I think you're right, and you could just see John Hayes in the background, Ireland prop. He shrugged his shoulders and he almost told himself off. I think this man just got a bit lower than he did. Came from a good drive from Flavell. I thought he was over the line. They recycled it relatively quickly, and he saw the space. Let's have a look. There's Hayes there. He's way too high.
Come from behind. Come from behind my screen.
Well, the only question you'd say is, was it over the line on the first go? I think he slides over. I think that's a try.
Certainly from that angle appears to be at least on the line, and I reckon he'll get it.
Yep.
He does indeed. So Byron Kelleher has the first try of the test match.
And Smithy, you'd have to say it's success for the All Blacks' tactics of not kicking the ball out. They forced the line out, drove on, attacked the inside channels, and that's where the try came from.
Yeah, precision kick from Aaron Mauger to force the Irish into their own goal. They did extremely well, as you say, to get out of that. But in the end, the All Blacks also will be satisfied, Drakey, that they're starting to take it to the Irish a lot more in the pack. A drive from the line out, and they looked very solid indeed.
Conversion made by Luke McAlister to the Kelleher try. 7 points to 0. And the restart from O'Gara. Waiting for this one is Rokocoko. He pops the pass to Mealamu. Kelleher now back to McAlister again, ignoring the touchlines and sliding this one down past Shane Horgan. So it's a definite tactic for the All Blacks. Not interested in kicking it out, it would seem. Now the kick and chase from Muliaina. Ireland have it 5 metres in their own territory. Stringer for O'Gara. Goes for a bit of a run, but he's closed down very quickly. And the ball's stolen away, but I think he ruled they played it on the ground or flopped on it.
So the kicking game from the All Blacks. They're long kicks. They're really to no man's land, but they've got good chases coming up all on the line. Just turning the Irish forwards around.
Well, Drake, if they're going to attack the All Blacks in close there, I suggest that they may be looking to find a better option than Ronan O'Gara as their runner.
Yes, well, of course, I guess they might have been thinking that the All Blacks would run off him and look for the dangerous guys like Darcy and O'Driscoll. It'll be interesting here, Smithy, to see if the Irish forwards go for a drive. They didn't do much of this in the first test, and this is really one of their strengths.
Taken down by O'Callaghan. Now Stringer. Getting up very quickly on O'Driscoll. He got past McAlister, who flew at him.
Get on.
And the ball comes back again for Stringer. The charge by the hooker, Jerry Flannery. Staying blindside, but it's untidy. And it looked like a knock on. And it's ruled that way.
Well, Ireland content to keep the ball in hand, ignoring the drive at the line out. This is an area last week where the All Blacks had a lot of dominance. They didn't really get a lot of benefit from it.
Wait for me. Crouch and hold. Engage. Wait half.
Solid All Black start. So'oialo just twisted at the last minute.
Okay, leave him.
Kelleher looking for Rokocoko to come blindside. Then he bangs it high again.
Rokocoko slightly offside. He had to pull back.
Now Murphy can be a dangerous runner. Pass didn't quite find its mark and was knocked on by Trimble. And maybe the combination of the slippery ball and a solid jolting tackle.
Well, they're certainly having a go, and handling area is starting to mount, but they're trying to put guys in space, and it's a fine line. If he had got through with the ball in hand, a lot of defence, All Black defence, is rushing up, particularly on the insides. That first scrum for the All Blacks looked pretty powerful. It was almost too strong for So'oialo at the back of the scrum.
Rain really tumbling down now as Kelleher runs again up to Laulala, running hard. All Blacks turning it very quickly now. Chris Jack. As Kelleher waits again. They're 15 out from the 22. Major. Big Carl Hayman looking to charge through in midfield. They did a lot of tackling last week, did the Irish.
No. Stay on side.
And they've done a lot too in the first 10 minutes here. Kelleher turns it back inside. Mealamu gets rid of one man. That was Dennis Leamy. Now they move it again. Not much of a back line as McAlister steps. They're all grouped together. And Kelleher, the first time tonight that an All Black back has actually kicked it deliberately into touch, it would seem. And it's taken close on 11 minutes.
Well, the move broke down almost. McAlister left it behind, and the forwards won't mind this kick into the corner, don't you worry. Gives Jack and Co an opportunity to attack Ireland at line out. Ireland very good at line out. Interesting to see if All Blacks attack or they want to just drive it back. Shortish line out from Ireland.
Gap, yes, take a gap.
Flannery to throw. All Blacks looking to disrupt.
Get away.
It's fallen nicely though. Now Stringer come charging at O'Gara, but he's cool under pressure. Got his kick away. Rokocoko's looking to throw it quickly and does so into Muliaina. Just didn't quite get the right angle on that. And Murphy is going to punish them for that, and a good kick by Joordan Murphy.
Average kick from Muliaina, you'd have to say. No cover defence back there. Easy for Murphy just to put it downtown.
Drake, yeah, that's the direction of the kicks they've been implementing, but perhaps they needed more height on it, more time for a chase, or more time for the All Blacks to get sorted.
Well, you'd think so in these conditions. The bomb's going to be very effective.
Flavell takes it in cleanly. All Blacks line out working okay in the early stages. It's pretty willing in there in these opening minutes of the game.
That's right. Putting the half back in.
And that's against the Irish for dragging Byron Kelleher into the ruck. Absolutely pelting down here.
Yeah.
Which I suppose is stating the obvious.
Yes. There's the arm just pulling Kelleher before he got his hands on the ball.
Mealamu throws. This one bounces off the hands of Jack. And the first line out turnover from the All Blacks tonight. Pops out for Stringer. O'Gara. We might see a fair bit of that. It's a clever kick. All Blacks have to control it. And it was nicely done by Kelleher. And now snapped up by Flavell, who puts his boot to it. Well, he can do most things, Troy Flavell. And that's an added string to the bow.
Well, it's interesting here. Here's a quick look. No, nothing on. Didn't try and kick it too hard, just chips it over. But that was a good sign for Ireland at line-out time. Last time they turned it over. Let's see if the All Blacks can come back again.
Flannery's got some good targets here. O'Connell, O'Callaghan. And he's gone way to the back.
Over the 15. Get on sides.
Drive by Flannery. Stringer now to O'Gara. Sends it across to O'Driscoll. Oh, the pass to Darcy dropped out of his hands. Referee praying an advantage.
Okay, thank you.
And there was none.
Well, you'd have to say in these conditions, Smithy, it's dangerous stuff. 15 metres behind the advantage line.
Well, I just don't get it, Drakey. They should have learnt their lesson from last week when they tried things from under their post in much better conditions than this. Put pressure on themselves. They have a kicking game that they really should look, while it's hosing down like it is, to use the territory to their advantage.
I'd agree. If anything, they've got maybe better tactical kickers than the All Blacks, and just get downtown, be patient. 15 minutes into the test, they've been down All Blacks territory quite a bit, and that has been through the kick. It hasn't been through the run. So it's a good opportunity here for the All Blacks. Pretty useful blind. Might see Muliaina up on that side with Howlett. Scrum. If Hayman can get his side up, that'll create a huge advantage on that blind.
Jake, just looking at Casey Laulala, who's come right out to this touchline of 13. He's the player you can see in the foreground. Looks like they might use Rokocoko in closer.
Yeah, I still like the look of that blind, Smithy. Let's just see how good the scrum is.
It's pretty solid. So'oialo hands it off to Kelleher. McAlister goes for a bit of a run, breaks the first tackle. Now Mauger trying to hand off Darcy, who finally gets him down. Now they stay blindside with Flavell, and the ball pops out.
Thank you.
Good, solid Irish defence, and it was Shane Horgan, the winger, who's never afraid to mix it.
Yeah, it was great defence. First up tackles, they read it very well. It was a pretty solid scrum from the All Blacks.
It was too quick the last.
So this is interesting. First line out, first scrum for Ireland under a bit of pressure last week in Hamilton.
Engage.
Under a bit of pressure again, but the ball's not in yet.
Yeah, All Blacks have got to be very careful. They push before the ball's put in. They'll get penalised.
Same call, go!
Likewise, Kaplan's very strict on teams pulling back.
Crouch and hold. Collapse far side.
I'll try again.
On the side.
He's very cool, Jonathan Kaplan, in this area, but I think he's technically very good.
Both of you, just wait for my call,
Yes,
okay?
sir. Yes, sir.
Wait for my call. Crouch and hold.
I'll try again. A lot of pressure once more as Neemia detaches and got away from the tackle. 10 out from the 22. Now Stronger and O'Gara, and it was offside against the All Blacks.
Just relax. Leave the ball in the tackle on the ground.
Straight broken tackle there.
That's Jerome Kaino in this bow, and I'm not sure he'd be too thrilled with that after the great work in the scrum.
Yeah, they had him under pressure. Neemia actually had to get out of the hole between the two locks and get the ball a bit quicker, so it's between the flanker and the lock, because he knew they were in trouble. The channel wasn't right. He had a lot of work to get around this man, and he did well. That's a clean miss.
Who's half?
17 minutes gone. 7-0. The Kelleher try, separating the two teams in difficult conditions here at Eden Park. Flannery again. O'Connell straight off the top. Now it's O'Gara to Darcy. Got past McAlister. And McCaw desperately holding on, but a good burst by Gordon Darcy. Quick hands here. It goes to Neemia over the 22. Ireland looking good here as McCaw gets worked out the back of the ruck. Now they move it again. O'Gara's cross kick. That the chaser is a big forward in the form of Paul O'Connell.
Gaelic football, Nisbo, or hurling, one of the two. He wasn't quite there either way.
No, he wasn't.
Wasted opportunity, really.
Yeah, but they'll attack the line out. All Blacks going short. That'll just cut down the numbers, makes it a bit more difficult.
Richie McCaw did that very cleverly and then appeared to get dragged down. Kelleher kicks from the base. Horgan is waiting. And the big man from Leinster feeds it off to Geordan Murphy, runs into a solid hit from Carl Hayman, and ball's turned over. Now a chance as McCaw hands it on to Laulala, and it wasn't a very good kick, and it came back in a hurry and he knocked it on.
Rodney So'oialo part of that tackle as well. That was a beauty, a bone cruncher.
It's a bit tough on Murphy. He's taking the ball up all the time. Horgan's a big man. You would have thought he might have taken the first tackle. Look at that, straight into the heavy stuff. Quick turnover.
Wait for me, please.
Another scrum, more pressure for Ireland.
Hold up here, one.
Much better Irish scrum. Leamy hands it off to Stringer. Running it with O'Driscoll. Got taken down on a good tackle by Laulala. Couldn't get his kick away. And the All Blacks might have turned this one. And So'oialo has it.
Advantage for the knock.
A playing advantage as he gets it off to McAlister. A better angle here for Major to make the kick. O'Gara going across. Not too many options available here, so he turns and kicks. And he might kick it into touch and goal. He does. So back they go for a scrum, and this will be in Irish territory.
All Black scrum way back there. Plenty of space. It wasn't too far off just putting it on the other side of the flag, you'd have to say.
20 minutes gone, first half, 7-0.
Don't break me, please. Crouch and hold. Engage. The bind up, please. Bind up.
Let's
Bind
go.
up.
Gallus. Bind up, Marcus.
Stretch to the square. Crouch and hold. Engage. Bind up here.
Kelleher. McAlister, nice little kick, just not able to be recovered. Now it's a loose ball. Picked up in the end by Horgan.
Leave it.
But it certainly had Ireland under pressure for a moment. And there it is for Kelleher. Now a chance for the All Blacks. Kelleher keeps going. Laulala. Kelleher probably could have carried on himself as they hit the ruck hard. Waiting for it to pop back. Kelleher ducking and diving, showing again his strength. Just a couple of metres out, and it didn't release.
13's on his feet out of the ball, all right to it.
No, he says Brian O'Driscoll was on his feet. He had the rights to the ball. There's a shake of the head. I thought Ireland might have been a bit stiff at the ruck, which Richie McCaw stole the ball. Kaplan clearly said hands off at 7, and then it popped out the All Black side. That's what the Irish were pretty upset about. They scrambled back in the end. That was that turnover there. They should have done better here, shouldn't they? Look, he only had a forward to beat on the inside, didn't he?
I actually think he could have kept going, Drakey.
Yeah.
I think if he had gone to the ground, he'd have slid over.
Yeah.
All Blacks creating the try-scoring opportunities as Flannery throws, taken down by I think it was Flavell who got that one. So Mealamu drives it round the fringe. Referee's got the arm out. Taking a metre at a time.
6 and 8 offside, no advantage.
And 2 players offside there. Neil Best and Dennis Leamy both offside, and up will step Luke McAlister.
Came from a turnover at line out. Ireland will be disappointed with that. That's when they had to scramble. And you're right, Flavell got up. I think the throw was to Paul O'Connell. Went over his head. All Blacks got it, and they got just the front forward. Here we go. Here's O'Connell. He goes up. He just misses it. Well picked up by Flavell. Took the yard. So they're in disarray at that stage, Ireland.
Really was beautifully taken because he would have been unsighted. And it just took it on the fingertips. Luke McAlister, and a penalty goal by McAlister. A personal milestone for him of 50 test points as the All Blacks lead by 10-0.
Legal or illegal, Drakey, one of the things the All Black coaches looking out the window will be very pleased of to see their number 7 getting his hands on the ball at turnover time or ruck and maul time, because that was not evident last week in Hamilton at all.
No, you're right. He just feels a bit more at home tonight, doesn't he? I guess the conditions are probably suiting his style of play.
A problem at the back for Ireland, maybe a blood problem for Geordan Murphy.
Sweet, I'll sort it out. Time.
So he's okay. There's a little bit of doubt early in the week about Murphy playing, as the kickoff is made and claimed by Jack. And driving off him is Mealamu, and Ireland dragged it down.
Putting them all down. 4.
Donncha O'Callaghan, the man charged.
And the kick was too far, really. All Blacks were well positioned. They just pulled it down.
Just the ball, please, ball.
Throw by Mealamu, nicely done to McCaw, straight off the top, coming on the angles, and away goes Laulala. Just couldn't quite break the last tackle.
No, stay on,
but the All Blacks have the ball in very good attacking position. Kelleher, as McCaw runs the dummy, So'oialo steps his way past a couple.
Roll away, Green!
And they're just out from the 22 and looking to move it away to the right. Major, nice pass back inside to McAlister. Keen to keep the ball alive here, the All Blacks. Now Joe Rokocoko gets in close. McCaw charges hard and makes a good 10 metres. Now it's cleared away for Mealamu. And Rokocoko stayed with him. And it's nicely settled again for Kelleher. Now McAlister. Major drops it onto the boot, and here come the runners, and Ireland can only kick it out.
Oh, good play again from Major. Just enough weight on it. Look at this. Just enough weight on it. Turn them round, put it in the corner. Full line out from the All Blacks. Plenty of options here.
Down the back to So'oialo.
Leave his legs!
There's the 5-metre mark. All Blacks looking strong here.
Major's gone in there too.
Now they go close. Pops back, Jack. Just short and clapped out. I think it is. Yes, it is. The Southland man gets a test try.
Well, he didn't have to run too far. His partner, Carl Hayman, I think he said before the match, Nisbo, he's still waiting to get his first try in Test rugby. Ireland are disputing whether there was a knock on here from Jack. Let's have a look. Well,
yeah, there was.
Looks to me like he did. He dropped it. He lost it. So they've got a right to dispute this. I think he loses control there, then he pushes it back. He got away with it. Kaplan was well positioned. He didn't see it my way. But Dermody, well, he doesn't care whether it's 100 metres or half an inch. He's got his try.
Well, that's a real kick in the teeth really for Ireland. The All Blacks are playing very well in these conditions. His mistake level is very low. McAlister sends that one through the middle as well. So this is a very handy lead. They're dominating possession, making very few mistakes while they're doing it. But Ireland, they really didn't need that.
Well, the areas where they weren't so flash last week, Smithy, line-outs and the drive, that's where they've improved tonight, the All Blacks.
What a moment for Clarke Dermody. The Irish weren't happy with it, and they might have had a point. McCaw couldn't take it and knocked it on. 17 points to 0, 12 minutes remaining. There's an Irishman down as the kick is made. Difficult for Howlett to contain, and he does in the end. All Blacks getting players back behind the ball as quickly as possible. And it's going to be taken out by Major. And he gets it into touch. No, he doesn't. He's kicked it straight down to Murphy. An Irish player still being attended to as Marcus Horan charges up. Could be Brian O'Driscoll, who's on the ground, and he hasn't got up for a while either. In fact, he hasn't got up at all as Flannery goes down the middle. So the most potent attacking force is out of this move as O'Gara takes on the All Black defence and is taken now. Stringer thumped by So'oialo, but they carry on.
Go hands! Pass forward, Black.
Now O'Driscoll getting back into the action very slowly though. He's playing advantage as Stringer clears it off. Here's Horgan having a go. McCaw around the bottom, Jack over the top.
Yep.
And he was playing an advantage.
No real advantage.
And we're going back for a knock-on, it would seem. So he's not happy, Brian O'Driscoll.
No, it looks like he's had a knock on a part of the abdomen you don't really want to get knocked in. Well, it's important for Ireland. They've got 10 or so minutes before half-time. They've got to get some points on the board. They've got to strike now.
We might be able to pick up this injury to O'Driscoll. Well, he just fell rather awkwardly, it seemed. Up challenging for the ball. Fantastic player. I think I might have had him playing for Wales last week as well. So he is pretty versatile.
Well, he's good enough to probably play 2 countries at once.
Still, it could be worse.
Yeah. Irish scrum. The last one, you've got to say, was pretty stable. That's what they'll be looking for here. Well, Troy Flavell tonight, he's done most things right, you'd have to say. He's in there for his combative skills and his grunt up the middle. He's got shown a couple of good touches as well. That kick, that line out take against the throat.
Please, square on. Crouch and hold.
17 points to nil.
I won't be speaking again, okay?
All Blacks are trying to get the nudge first, and Kaplan said if they do it again, he'll penalise them. Good scrum, Ireland.
Stringer for O'Gara, looking for a gap, but it's closed down pretty quickly. All Blacks conscious of leaving the odd gap in midfield last week, determined not to this week. Quickly taken by Stringer, passing up the chance for 3 points. Back it goes to O'Connell on the charge. Bounced out of the tackle of Kelleher. And Ireland, he's still going. Paul O'Connell has launched through the All Black defence to score.
Well, it looked to me like he got tackled, but he wasn't held, so he just kept on going. Interpretation of the referee. Look at the All Black defenders. I think they stopped, Smithy. I think they thought that he was grounded, but he didn't have any thoughts about that himself. Look at this. This is from a tap. Stringer took it early. Look at Kelleher gets bounced away. He's on the ground there, and actually I think maybe the All Blacks thought that Muliaina might have had it or whatever. But O'Connell, well, he won't get much easier tries than that.
Yeah, I think they thought he might have offloaded to Geordan Murphy coming in behind him there, right there, in the black sleeves, and he was the one they focused the attention on. He was gone. And this is the bloke, Drakey, who looked so frustrated at the end of the game last week, O'Connell, when he was the one that caused the turnover at the end when the All Blacks scored that nail, I guess, in the coffin try to finish the game off. So he'll feel a bit better about life now.
Well, the All Blacks would be disappointed. This was from a quick tap. This defence, it was on the blind side. The momentum kept on going. Pretty skinny stuff here. Look, they're all their heads up. They're looking for what's going to happen next. No one bothered getting hold of this guy.
Well, he didn't appear to be held in the tackle.
Oh no, it looked fine to me.
Ball kicked down to Horgan. Well, that's given them some real hope now. And you notice one or two of the Irish supporters suddenly found their voices. Kick made, charged. And it was O'Driscoll who made the kick. And it's gone into touch near the 22. So 17-7 looks one heck of a lot better than 17-0.
Yes. And they just want to go downtown. Look, it was Gordon Darcy who actually gave it. So you had the inside centre passing to the outside centre for the kick. Kaino chopped him down.
O'Connell, the try scorer. He's now scored 5 in Test rugby. And they take the All Blacks outside the 22, and it's popped back on the All Black side. In fact, it's knocked on.
Lost forward. There's only the legs that were lying on top of you, and you lost the ball forward.
They'll be disappointed in that island. They got the drive on. Kaino came in, created a bit of trouble. There he is there. That was enough. But the ball was, I guess the angle was wrong. He might have got disorientated. He probably thought he was feeding the ball back, but he actually fed it back to the All Blacks.
Crouch and hold.
Rokocoko lurking just in behind here. Let's see whether he gets anything. It's Major on the charge though. Just near the 22. Taken out by Kelleher. Now it's Keven Mealamu.
I'm pretty skinny if the All Blacks can get some quick ball wide.
Driving it on a couple of extra metres through Dermody. Now So'oialo backs his way in. Just looking to engage as many of the Irishmen as possible. And then they put the hands in there.
8 rock forms.
Foolish really, right out in front of the posts. And almost a guaranteed 3 points if the All Blacks want them.
Oh, they'll take him for sure. I'll be disappointed with that on. They just scored. They set up some good ball. They just need to go downtown. They couldn't achieve that. Kick from O'Driscoll got charged down. I thought the All Blacks had a bit of space out wide. In some numbers, maybe there was a lot of forwards out there.
Another penalty goal kicked through by Luke McAlister, his second tonight. And the All Blacks lead by 20 points to 7.
Well, Drakey, these penalties are coming from infringements at ruck and maul time because of the pressure the All Blacks have been able to put on and the continuity they're showing. Graham Henry said he wanted a much better first half performance this week. I think he's got to feel fairly satisfied.
Yeah, absolutely. The things that he wanted to correct have been corrected. There's been some good drive, and the set pieces have been a lot tidier.
O'Gara kicks off. Flavell gets up high. Couldn't grab it though. Fell nicely for O'Callaghan.
Accidental. He didn't mean to.
But unlucky there. Ireland, they got the rebound and an accidental offside.
Wait for me, please.
Quickly fed. So'oialo works it across to Kelleher. Now it's Muliaina. And they've got it down inside the 22. They might be a little bit disappointed with the end result.
Well, I think he did okay considering he got a dropping pass. Stopped the momentum really. So he just thought, well, we'll just get down the other end.
Stay out.
4 minutes remaining first half. Paul O'Connell, the try scorer for Islands, and it's he once again who drags one down. Now they work it across. This is a pretty useful kick, this one, and drifting towards the touchline. Ireland back onto the attack.
That's clever play. They swap round their backline. They put O'Gara just a bit further out, and that gave them the opportunity and the space just to kick. Almost an old-fashioned wipers kick. Really turned the All Blacks round. Clever play.
Mealamu tipped back by O'Callaghan. Flannery wants it, and Ireland should get this. I think Carl Hayman flopping it over the top. Well, not only Carl Hayman, but Richie McCaw as well.
Yeah, both of them. Sealing it off.
Right, here's decision time for the Irish. The line out is their strength, and they stole that one off Troy Flavell at the front. It's almost as if they read the call beautifully.
Just settle down.
Well, I guess you have a go, don't you, Smithy?
That's my play.
Well, not for the first time tonight. They're not going for the 3. They're going to have a crack from a line-out.
Well, they got enough time. They got 3 or so minutes.
Come down first. Let him come down.
Kaplan's making his intentions felt. He's warning the All Blacks.
Plenty of support for the Irish as they launch this attack. Dragged down by Best, and he's playing advantage as O'Callaghan goes around the fringe.
Breaking the leg. On the 5, on the 5.
Stringer looking to take it quickly. Not sure they'd back their scrum here.
No.
Maybe another line out.
Yeah.
Time out. Hold the ball, please. Captain. Taking the legs underneath the jumper. I won't be tolerating repeated infringements.
Well, the All Blacks got to be careful here. Blatant slowing down of the ball from Carl Hayman, then an infringement there at line-out time.
Stay out there, stay out.
Interesting call from Kaplan, that one. Not sure there was an All Black anywhere near it. Now, Ireland with a chance, with the ball trapped in the back of the maul, heading towards the line, looking good, and down they go. Try given.
Had to be.
Okay, leave it, leave it, leave it. Leave it! Just leave it, both of you. Settle, settle, settle. Just settle.
A bit of it all in, but the bottom line is that Ireland have scored a try. Jerry Flannery, the hooker, has got it.
Oh, this is good stuff too. Look at this. Straight in the wedge. There wasn't enough depth in the All Blacks at that position, whether they weren't picking it or not. Bit high, the Irish drive, but effective in the end. There's just too many numbers there, wasn't it? They had more Irish players in front of them than you could believe.
Well, the interesting thing was, the All Blacks had to leave the jumper alone because they'd just been pinged for that in the line-out beforehand, and they clearly got to the ground, O'Connell, and that's where they set up the base from. Then the backs joined in, and all of a sudden they found that momentum. The All Blacks couldn't counter. The fracas was involving Joe Rokocoko and Troy Flavell.
11 had a go. It's unnecessary. I've given the decision. Let's get on with the game. It's played in a good spirit. Just keep it like that. No need to overreact. Whatever you saw, it doesn't matter. Okay?
Yeah, I just thought, Smithy, that the All Blacks were a bit skinny when the drive went on. I don't think they had a lot of numbers there compared to the Irish, and that was what really counted in the end. A lot of All Blacks standing up waiting for the ball to be peeled away. It was never going to happen.
Coming back just before half-time. 2 tries each so far. O'Gara. On target. 20 points to 14.
And Nisbo, let's be honest, was Chris Jackson knock on?
Well, we know the answer to that.
Yeah, so let's pay some credit to Ireland for their guts here.
McAlister to restart. Closing stages in the first half. O'Gara takes it. Now it's a kick and chase. Muliaina tries to bring it under control. They run it into touch, and the first half is over. Almost a sensational try from the kickoff, but the All Blacks have snuffed it out, and they lead at half-time by 20 points to 14.
Well, we were talking about the All Blacks doing most things right in the first half, but they didn't actually count on the fight and the spirit of the Irish team. Possession and territory definitely favoured the All Blacks in the first half. But Ireland, they got their act together. Clever kicking from O'Gara, you'd have to say. He got them down the right end of the field for the 2 tries. That was important. All Blacks, line-out's going well, scrum's effective, they're driving well, but in these conditions, they haven't really counted on the stubbornness of this Irish defence and their willingness to attack and counter-attack.
2 tries each. Kelleher and Dermody for the All Blacks. And for Ireland, O'Connell and Flannery. Half-time at Eden Park, the All Blacks lead 20 points to 14. Difficult conditions at Eden Park for the second test match, but there's been plenty to talk about in the first 40 minutes for certain. Both teams have scored a couple of tries. Kelleher and Dermody for the All Blacks, O'Connell and Flannery for Ireland, and it's 20 points to 14 at the half-time break. And let's go back and have a look at the highlights of the first half. The All Blacks scored first in the 6th minute. Flavell almost got there. Then Byron Kelleher, using his strength and getting low to the ground, got it onto the line and scored the opening try.
And then there's a drive from a line out. You could see Aaron Mauger was in there, so they're pretty desperate, the All Blacks, at this stage. Jack goes now. Clearly there was a knock on there. Didn't matter to Dermody. He got it. Kaplan well held position. Ireland protested, but it was too late. Points were given.
Penalty here in centre field, and Ireland go very quickly, passing up the chance for 3 points. Here's Paul O'Connell. He gets the ball now. He bounces out of one tackle. He's not held. He gets up, and the All Blacks rather perplexed as he gets up and goes and gallops and scores.
Ireland turned down a couple of penalties here to go for the drive. It was very good, very effective. Not a lot of All Blacks, really, you've got to say. Look at a lot of them hanging off. Ireland, high body position. It didn't matter in the end. They had the momentum. Delayed try, but easily over in the end.
So those were the 4 tries scored in the first half. A little bit of a shindig over the goal line, but nothing much came of that. So now look at the stats.
Well, the All Blacks territory and possession, they were dominant, probably more dominant than that in the first 30 minutes of the half, and then later on. So Ireland had a real resurgence. Kicking has been important because of the conditions. The All Blacks been very keen not to kick the ball out, but O'Gara, he's really done well with his kicking. He's gained a lot of metres. Every time he's kicked the ball, he's got over 20 metres of actual gain time. That's important. Handling errors, considering conditions, very important. All Blacks, considering the amount of ball they had, made very few errors in the first 20 or so minutes. They crept up a wee bit, and that allowed Ireland to actually get a couple of line-outs and a couple of scrums and get down the right end of the field.
Just as it was in Hamilton, a very competitive test match, this one, in front of a crowd tonight of 44,000 here at Eden Park. Half-time sees the All Blacks lead 20 points to 14. It's tough, it's tight, and it's competitive again. The second test match at Eden Park in Auckland, the ground that will host Rugby World Cup Final 2011. Let's get some thoughts on the sideline from former All Black Murray Mexted.
Yeah, Murray, your impressions of the first 40?
Well, firstly, I'm absolutely delighted we've got such a great contest. Isn't it wonderful when you've got a true test match? The Irish are certainly competitive, but I'm very pleased with the way New Zealand's playing, actually. Despite the scoreboard and the Irish rush in the last 5 minutes, New Zealand have controlled possession and territory, and they're playing a territory game. They're actually kicking not to put it into touch, so they don't want the Irish to have line-outs, and they're actually controlling the game in some respects. They're attacking that channel just outside one, around the Ruck and Mall area. And I think they've laid a foundation for some, for some dominance in the second half.
Your prediction then, you sounds like you think the All Blacks are in good shape to polish this off.
Oh, I think so. I think they've done all the work in the first half. They have the same attitude and they stick to some sort of pattern like they've had in the first half. They'll score another two or three tries.
Thanks very much, Murray. Well, I'm not sure Nisbay I enjoy his optimism to that level. We'll see here. Here's Luke McAlister.
Thank you, Smithy. Players all back on the field. Referee returning. Rain continues to fall. And we'll be underway here in the second 40 minutes. 6-point margin for the All Blacks. Luke McAlister with the ball, and we're underway in the second spell as the kickoff is made, taken down by Leamy. And Ireland will look to clear this, and unlike the All Blacks, they bang it immediately for the touchline.
Well, they're on a roll just before half-time, Ireland, and they'll just want to keep that momentum going. No mistakes down the wrong end of the field. That'll be their tool.
Stay on your line. 8.
Prime Minister Helen Clark in attendance here tonight. Richie McCaw has been a target in the lineouts a lot for the All Blacks, as they use a number of variations. And Ireland penalised early for dragging that one down, dragging the player down.
The Irish had to go a long way to get this ball at the line out, though. Didn't look 100% straight to me when it came down here. See McCaw, he catches on the inside, and that's as Neemia goes up, pulls him down. And not the start that Ireland wanted.
Not an easy one, this one, from Luke McAlister. He's a long way out on the angle. A kick of at least 47 metres. Struck it pretty well, and just under. Not an easy night for the spectators either. Smithy, how are you surviving, mate?
Struggling a wee bit, Nisbo. I've got to say at this point that surprises me in terms of not getting the distance there for McAlister. Thought he had that covered. The breeze actually has picked up behind the All Blacks quite markedly.
Stay behind. Stay behind.
O'Gara from the 22. And they're going to let it bounce. Muliaina sits up nicely for him. Across to Major. This time he goes to the air. Murphy lining it up. And nicely taken, gets good support too, and the black jerseys arrive in bulk.
On a catch.
But Ireland have done well, and of course the ball taken on the full means that they'll get the scrum put in.
Smithy, crucial in the first 10 minutes of the second half. The points are so close on the scoreboard. I think it's going to be the kicking game which is going to be the most effective. We've already just seen Major put it high. Ireland don't want to get down the other end of the field from this scrum, that's for sure. Well,
I think that's right, Joe. I really do think the key for Ireland in the remainder of this match is field position and the ability to use the angles and their line-out strength.
Untidy, and Stringer did the right thing. Good old-fashioned hack at it. Wasn't pretty, but it was effective.
Well, any way you can get down the other end of the field for them is going to work. It's a greasy ball. It might not even be the high kicks, just the ones along the ground. Close down the space in the line-out, attack the All Blacks in the area they don't like being attacked.
Mealamu throws, and that was not crooked. Straight, no.
It's the second one in a row, in my opinion.
And uncontested by Ireland, so that was a freebie for the Irish.
Just drifting across, and he took it on the right shoulder, and that's always a giveaway.
Wait for me.
Half scrum for Ireland wasn't as steady as they would have liked, though. You just see Neemia just goes across again, looking for the channel. Geez, that's a shambles.
Well, they need 8 in the shove, surely.
Absolutely.
Neemia not even pushing. And 8 is always going to beat 7, and that's what happened.
All it was they dominated the hit. Once it steadied, you had to put the ball in.
I think half the Irish forward pack thought that the scrum was going to be reset. It's like a league scrum.
So now the All Blacks get a chance. Kelleher across to McAlister, got it on the second take. Now Howlett off to Major. Muliaina, Rokocoko in a bit of space. And McCaw being held back, but he's finally got it. And the ball knocked on. I think Richie McCaw might have been taken early.
Hold there, hold.
Ireland driving it away. Ball pops out loose. And maybe the advantage is over.
It was stripped forward by Black.
No, in fact, he's going back.
Well, this was wonderfully created. The dummy runner Howlett was in, so they had all the backs. I think it was Laulala who created the space. Really had to scramble the Irish defence. Yeah, split second thing for McCaw, wasn't he, when he was held. Pressure though, real pressure for Ireland with this scrum. The All Blacks will just look to blitz over the top of this. They'll have to be careful they don't push before the ball comes in.
Terrible position to try and clear the ball too.
Wait for me, wait. Okay.
Ireland trying to make some ground out of the back of the scrum. Now Stringer gets it back, and O'Gara from in his in-goal area, and they have scrambled it pretty well down towards the 22. In fact, outside the 22.
Well, they're doing very well. Lemmy's not doing his tight forwards any favours by changing his position at the back of the scrum. Let's just have a look at this. Let's look at McCaw in the back play. Well, yes, he is held on to, that's for sure. You picked it in his vote. Subtly held back, you'd have to say.
Change, I think, for Ireland here.
Yeah, Kevin Dempsey at 22, Nisbo at the back for Geordan Murphy.
Well, he was struggling earlier in the week with a leg problem. Maybe this is just blood, though.
Yeah, he's going to go back in and try and get it stitched up by the looks. All Blacks line out, full line out.
Well, they got Muliaina getting attention too on this side. The same thing.
So both fullbacks getting attended to as the All Blacks launch, and McAlister has knocked it on. Wasn't the easiest of passes, but
and just a wee bit of dissension, and you can just see from Kelleher after the ball goes down. Here comes the bullet. Kelleher was not happy afterwards.
Stay there, stay there.
Stringer feeds again, a scrum that's under enormous pressure.
Now Kelleher's just got to settle down. He just berated one of his own players. He's just got to keep cool.
Just come off the marker. Just come off there. Keep your bind up.
It's a wobbly old scrum though on Ireland.
Crouching hold. Go.
Wait that
Watch
wide,
the
wait
number
that
8 swaps over. Gee, that makes it hard for your tight five.
Leamy, or the ball is loose. All Blacks might have walked over the top of this. No, they've been penalised.
Best put his body on the line for sure.
I've got it. If you were going to take it quickly, I would have advanced it.
Fair bit of talk out there, Smithy, from both teams.
Irish are absolutely livid that the All Blacks would not give the ball back to Peter Stringer. Jonathan Kaplan saying, well, if you were going to take it quickly, I would have dealt with it. But how do you know they're going to take it quickly if they own the ball?
Yeah, well, this is where it came from. They're very lucky to get out of jail. Best puts his body on the line. Hand came back from one of the All Black players. Saved Ireland.
No points so far, second half, 20 points to 14. Flannery lobs it in, that's not straight either.
Play on!
He's going to play on though. Stringer for O'Gara. Rokocoko going back, but he's put it out on the full. Untidy facet of play that.
New ball.
Both sets of forwards at line out time really closing the gap, really competing. It's putting pressure on the throwers, and they're just erring to their own side.
Not much.
Look at them squeezing up Ireland. They're saying, come on, you've got to put it in. Yes. Squeezing them, pressurising. This was the first test problem for Mealamu again.
Quickly taken. Marcus Horan, the loose head prop, crashes it up. Stringer now for O'Gara. Rips it on to Darcy. Back to O'Connell. All Black defence very solid though. O'Connell goes again. Peter Stringer turns and kicks. No chases though.
Good weight though.
It is a good weight. Howlett desperately wanting it to go over the line. Gets it back to Muliaina. Rips it across to Rokocoko. And the mistake comes right out in front of the posts. All Blacks were forced into it by a very well weighted kick by Peter Stringer.
You'd wonder though why you'd want to pass it in front of your posts. The kick out wouldn't have hurt. So scrum for Ireland. It's been pretty shaky, this area. It's split both ways.
Geordan Murphy will be back shortly.
Not always. Square on here. Crouch and hold. Engage.
Stringer works it across to O'Gara. Now it's with O'Driscoll stepping his way through. Got across a high one from Flavell.
Across the neck.
And it was across the neck. So he's playing advantage again. And it will be a penalty.
And to be fair to Flavell, I thought he pulled out of it. I think he could say a few years ago, Nisbet, he might have gone through with it. But he didn't. He pulled out, but it was still high. Yeah, there it was. Worth a penalty.
He's slick, isn't he? It's really slippery out there, but the way he transfers his weight and gets there, he might have milked it a wee bit there. Kaplan saying it was the second one, so
bit of an Oscar there, but I think the damage had already been done. And Flavell did pull out. He knew that he was in trouble. Very hard to let a bloke run past you when he's wrong-footed you.
So here's O'Gara to bring the score back to just a 3-point lead for the All Blacks. 20 points to 17. Ireland edging their way back into this.
You'd have to say, Smithy, they absorbed the pressure, didn't they, early on in the second half, Ireland? They got down the right end of the field and converted into points.
Murphy is back. Yeah, I agree with you, Drakey. I think they've just got to continue that plan. Got to kick for the corners, keep it low, keep it skidding across the surface, and then they put the pressure on when they're on attack.
McAlister. And once again, Ireland have got rid of the ball quickly. Nothing flashy.
All Blacks have got big Greg Rawlinson up and stripped, and it looks like it will be for Troy Flavell.
You look at O'Callaghan going right across the line and the line out, really putting pressure on him. Kaplan's going to call him back. Yes.
Again. Go.
Absolutely. You take this right to the limit, though. Look, they're gone back. As soon as Kaplan goes away, they go in the gap.
Once again, it's McCaw who is the line-out target. McAlister pops it up for Laulala. It looked as though it was almost a breakdown in communication there, but they got it right in the finish. McAlister puts it on the ground. Trying to bring it under control is Andrew Trimble. And down he goes, 5 metres from the 22.
Okay, hold there.
Stringer back for O'Gara, and he can run a fair way here. None of the All Blacks close to him, and he comfortably gets it away down towards halfway.
So Graham Henry makes his first move from upstairs, and it will be Rawlinson for Flavell. Drakey, just a theory for you. Ireland, who have led the All Blacks from time to time in the hope of their first win and given it away, they might be better just chasing them down at the end of the game if they hang close.
Well, the longer the game goes on, if the points are close, they're just going to build and build, aren't they? Look at them again, closing that line out.
Mealamu finds Jack. Kelleher. McAlister to Laulala, ripping a long one across, but it's far too wide. And it breaks down. The All Blacks have lost ground.
Are we old-fashioned, Smithy? Or what? Wouldn't you just put it into the corners from here or turn the Irish defence around?
Well, McAlister just did that, and they put an untold pressure on Trimble on defence, and it worked for the All Blacks.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's simple from up here.
I'm sure the forwards would agree with you, John.
Flannery throws. Just short of best, and it bounces up for McCaw. McAlister to So'oialo. Little kick jabbed in behind by McAlister. Waiting for it as Murphy does well. Spins out of a couple. Ireland back in possession.
Hold that. Hold.
O'Gara's in the pocket.
And he looks to see where he can put it in behind the All Blacks, and he's done it very well again. No chance of a quick throw. And the All Blacks back inside their own 22.
Being outthought, John.
Yeah, well, the battle of the number 10s. McAlister hasn't kicked a lot, and when he hasn't kind of worked out the way he would have liked.
Over. 15 minutes gone, second half. What a contest we've got. Players coming and going all over the place. McCaw can't take this one. Bounces back, Stringer. O'Gara with a drop kick. It's well to the right.
You go back for the scrum. Being squeezed at the line out. Why wouldn't you have a go?
Okay, heads up, no ball. No ball.
Now they need a ball.
What's the weak, boys? What's it?
Crouch and hold. Okay. Wind up here, one, don't shift. Shifting before the ball's in.
It's a free kick against the All Blacks. Leamy wants to go quickly, does so. Charges at the All Black defensive wall. Stringer away for O'Gara. Kick straight across to Horgan. And what good defence from Muliaina. Beautifully timed tackle. But it was a precision kick.
Well, I was just going to say, good from both players, wasn't it? Good from this man here. He had to turn and run. Horgan was going to have to catch it on the full anyway, so he was vulnerable, but it was a good tactic. Well-weighted kick. Against slacker teams, we might have been in trouble. Well-read Muliaina.
Big throw here for Keven Mealamu as he lobs it in, and Chris Jack.
Hold that, leave him. Leave him, side.
Kelleher organising the kicker. Does it himself in the finish. Gets pretty good distance. Horgan having to go back. He'll have to kick. Waiting for this is Jack. And delivers the pass for McAlister. O'Gara's got back. There's a big wide open space. And he kicked in the direction the All Blacks had gone back on. Gone the other way. Could have kicked it out near the corner. Major kicks it down to Trimble. Big defence by So'oialo. What a tackle that was. Still there though for Ireland. Stringer, another one of those little pop kicks that have been so effective. Howlett going back, chased, taken by O'Driscoll. Inside the 22 with Mealamu. Down he goes. Now Kelleher. Now Lala trying to spin out of tackles. He's held.
Ireland appealing for accidental offside. Kaplan didn't buy it.
Kelleher's going to kick it himself. Once again, Trimble waiting back. Oh, he's brought down. Lapse in concentration from Ronan O'Gara, and that's cost Ireland many, many metres.
Oh, he knew it too, didn't he? Oh dear. 99 times out of 100, no problem. It was real pressure from both ends though, wasn't it? All Blacks were getting squeezed on their own line. They kept their cool. Great tackle from So'oialo, and the All Blacks piled into this. You have to say Murphy did very, very well to recover the situation.
Wait for me. Crouch and hold. Down. Both of you. Engage.
All Black scrum feed. So'oialo off the back for Kelleher. Drops it onto the boot, but it sits up well for Murphy. And again, he unleashes. All Blacks are all standing up pretty flat. McAlister has to go back. Again, drops a little one in behind. Rokocoko leads the charge, but now it's with O'Driscoll.
How good is that?
Oh, he pops up in all sorts of places. Stringer, O'Gara's got this one. Muliaina comes off his boot. Stringer waits. Doesn't trust himself trying to catch it on the full, so he traps it nicely, and then his kick's pretty average. Down for Casey Laulala. Not sure what to do. Then gives it to Doug Howlett. His kick is across field and in touch finally. And the All Blacks, well, I'm thinking of the right word, confused.
Well, I was just going to say, Smithy, it's like when you're little kids and you're playing drive back and you're scared to make a mistake. Both of these teams, that's the way they're playing, aren't they?
Well, they're absolutely fearful of the conditions, I think, at the moment, and they know that this test match is on a knife edge and they don't want to be the unpopular one that makes the big cardinal error at the back. So safety first, trapping the ball with the feet, then picking it up. No long passes anymore.
Flannery throws. O'Callaghan drags it down. The test match continues. 20 minutes remaining. O'Gara drills another one in behind. Muliaina going back. Horgan striding up after him, looking for a mistake from the All Blacks. And this time Muliaina is safe, solid and sound.
Another Ireland throw in though, and that's what they're wanting. You remember in the first half the All Blacks didn't want to kick it out. They wanted to return the kick and let their defence, their chasers, force Ireland into mistakes. Well, it's not happening so far in this half.
All Black bench is very active. In fact, everybody's up. As the throw is made, O'Connell. No tries so far in the second half, but it's been absorbing stuff. As Ireland drive again.
O'Connell appealed for a penalty for being pulled down.
O'Gara turns it back inside to Darcy.
Okay, leave it 7.
No penalty forthcoming as yet. Difficult pass. Knocked it back. No, he didn't. Knocked it forward. Well, playing an advantage here. All Blacks looking to see if there's one there for them. Oh no, he's ruled backwards now, isn't he?
He's still playing advantage, I believe.
Okay, right.
Leave it green.
McCaw didn't knock it on.
In the finish, Kelleher boots it off downfield. Trimble standing outside the 22 and kicks it out on the full. Puts his hands on his head, as you can see. He realised the mistake.
There's been about 3 or so kicks from the All Blacks to this player, and I wonder whether they've targeted him. They're saying that's the corner we're going to go to.
Well, it just seems he was pretty fragile in defence at a couple of occasions in Hamilton last week, and those conditions are a damn sight better than these.
And stay there.
Mealamu throws quickly. Rawlinson got that one. There wasn't good delivery though, and McCaw has to tidy up. Slow ball for Byron Kelleher. McAlister running hard to the line, getting past a couple.
Leave it green.
Now So'oialo.
Yeah.
Kelleher has a glance to the right. Nothing doing there. Goes to the left.
Green.
Mealamu snaps it up. Inside the 22 they go, the All Blacks. Still working it to the left. Muliaina. Kelleher to McCaw on the charge. Lays it back nicely. Bit of momentum now. Major. Here goes Kelleher again, finding Rokocoko, but he's well covered. Irish defence holding.
Turnover.
And they've turned it. O'Gara straight down the middle. Muliaina's done a lot of running tonight. Back he goes again. Looking to see where his support is. He's going to have to kick it. And it's off the side of the boot. It's wobbly. But Howlett was onside. And it's been knocked forwards.
Good pressure from Howlett. Had to be best. Well, he knocked it on. He's had a big game so far. Disappointed.
Well, there might be a change coming up for Ireland, but the All Black reserve bench is all sat down again, Smithy.
Well, 22 for 11 now. Drakey, you picked up on the point that he was being found wanting a little bit. Andrew Trimble on defence, so they put Gerbin Dempsey there on the left wing.
Yeah, well, and Dempsey, well, he's a pretty versatile player, plays a fair bit at fullback as well, so that'll be useful. So All Black scrum, and they just started to get some good continuity. You'd have to admire the Irish defence again, but I think that's the secret for the All Blacks, continuity and get down the right end of the field. You'd have to say that they're probably surviving at the moment off Irish errors rather than making their own play though, Smithy. A couple of knock-ons and that's given them the field position.
Yep. Wait for me. Wait for me. Crouch and hold. Engage.
So'oialo for Kelleher. McAlister up to Muliaina, and the pass to Howlett was just a little bit behind him, and they lost the forward momentum.
Yeah, Kaplan's asking if it was a knock on. Yes, he's given it. He asked the touch judge. So Chris Jack didn't knock it on, but Howlett did.
It's a scrum for the top forward. Just keep the scrum up.
New Zealand! New Zealand!
Saw
Just holding you so you don't go early.
Craig Newby there. And there could well be a change coming up in the near future.
Square on, please. Crouch and hold.
15 minutes left.
Both of you go down
And another
immediately.
tight
No three-quarter.
tussle.
Both of you
Remember,
down immediately.
they first played in 1905. It's the
Okay,
20th time. Ireland got a draw in 73. That's the best they've done.
Bad call. Bad call. Both of you straight down. No three-quarter. Crouch and hold. Engage.
Another swirling scrum. The All Blacks with plenty of power.
Same again.
Huge amount of pressure there, Drakey, on Marcus Horan, the number 1 for Ireland. He buckled.
Well, they're wheeling it round, the All Blacks. They've given up on the straight push, and look at this wheel straight round. Hayes gets punished on the other side too. He's lit high. He's a bloke who knows a fair bit about scrummaging. It's the Wilson Winnerate.
Was there. Kaino almost had it. All Blacks fancy their chances. They've got it. McAlister away from Major. Laulala has Rokocoko with him. Delivers wide to Muliaina. Ireland swarming to the ball again.
Hold there, hold.
Now Kelleher. Again McAlister. Dermody. The big prop forward in centre field.
No hands.
Very slow ball for Kelleher. Now Laulala, nice numbers. Muliaina didn't deliver the final one. And Luke McAlister looked to be free down the left wing side.
Get over, please.
The All Blacks have got a penalty out of it, as Tialata and Newby look as though they'll be on shortly.
No, they definitely had an overlap on the far side. The All Blacks, they couldn't take advantage. McCaw, he was screaming for the penalty.
I can't hear. Repeat it.
Here it goes here. Thought he could have given it.
So the same change in the front row as last week. Tialata for Dermody. And the big moment, as you say, for Craig Newby, who really has earned a recall to the All Black jersey, for Jerome Kaino.
Great time to come on, Smithy. Got a likelihood of an All Black drive. We'll just get this signal. Rodney So'oialo.
Let the rest of you go, and then only one. Time. Take a step, please. Take a step. Step, please.
So just a third test match for Craig Newby.
Keep the step.
One previous against England, one against South Africa. And Mealamu throws. Untidy. McCaw has to tidy, but they've lost 10-15 metres. Looking to set up a drive here. Mealamu scoots away on the right-hand side. The rest thought he was going the other way. Newby gets his hands on the ball for the first time. Up it goes to Mealamu. The All Blacks are going to try and grind this one over. They're 15 metres out, right in centre field. Kelleher makes some grounds. They carry on with it. So'oialo. Now they free it up. Hayman quickly to Newby. Barreled. 5 metres out.
Get on sides, on sides.
He's got them offside, Ireland. And the penalty given.
Forward by Black, first offside. 2 players, off you go. Off you go.
Now this might be close enough for Luke McAlister to look at penalty goal.
15 initially interfering with presentation. 2 players offside. I told you to go back, not at penalties. There were 2 players.
Scrum. There you go, McCaw. Well, they've been dominant in this area, and I don't think they've actually got the payback that they should have. So they're going to have a go here. I'm not saying they're going to go for the pushover, but they're certainly going to try and get a bit of a platform.
3-point lead. Brave call by Richie McCaw.
Wait for me.
With just 11 minutes remaining. Held in the back. Advancing a metre or so.
I don't think the All Blacks got the hit they wanted. I think Ireland got the better hit. And I don't think So'oialo was ever going to let that go. He wanted to reset it, and he waited for them to go up. Now they want a better hit in this scrum, the All Blacks.
Down first, please, all the way. All the way. Engage.
Irish scrum holding up well, and they'll have to start all over again.
Absolutely, they're getting the hit. Ireland complaining, they're saying they're getting held on to. Best on the blind side, he's saying he's being held on to.
Just keep the binds. I know that. If the scrum collapses and I can't see who's at fault, I'm not going to guess. Wait for me. Crouch. Down, please. Engage. Bind up here.
Another good Irish scrum. All Blacks looking to make some ground. It's just holding. So'oialo picks it up and goes. Kelleher waits to scoop it out. McAlister has a go. McAlister's in. Luke McAlister between the posts.
Well, it was clever play. So'oialo took it up, and that just had to make the Irish backs move in one. That created the opportunity for this man here. He's a big first 5'8", can play second 5'8", got the momentum. You'd have to say it was O'Gara who missed the tackle. Well, he's been known as a weak link maybe. When the pressure came, he cracked. Hasn't
been the greatest night for Ronan O'Gara, to be honest. The odd handling lapse, but that is a cruel miss when you consider the level of defence that Ireland have put up, the fight and the tenacity and a failing scrum 3 or 4 occasions there. To turn around and see their number 10 just walked over the top of would not please them.
Converts his own try, Luke McAlister, and that gives the All Blacks a 10-point buffer.
You'd have to say the scrum was pretty solid for Ireland. There he is there, straight through. He's a good runner. He's run a couple of times from McAlister. He's kicking around the field. You wouldn't have said me the best. O'Driscoll had to come in, but it was too late.
17 for 1 for Ireland. Nisbo, Brian Young on.
Okay. So back come Ireland. And
carelessly into the opposition. 14.
And he's got Shane Horgan.
Carelessly into the opposition. Didn't watch the ball at all.
And he's got him for carelessly running into the opposition. It did look rather strange. So McAlister driving Ireland back. It's like a windmill.
Yeah. He was just pleased to be there, wasn't he?
Ireland looking to make a number of changes. 8 minutes left.
No walking.
Mealamu. Tips by O'Connell. Ireland in charge. Horgan across to O'Gara. Darcy. There he got on his feet. Now O'Driscoll with not much room in which to move. Stringer again to O'Gara. Best with his head down.
Okay, leave it here, leave it.
Ireland will throw everything into this last 7 or 8 minutes as Rokocoko goes back. Feeds it off to Muliaina. Back to Rokocoko. Lovely stuff. He's got support. He didn't let it go though.
He saw it was a prop maybe.
All Blacks still have an opportunity as Major looks to straighten. Inside the 22, the All Blacks attacking again. Now McAlister to Howlett, who's coming close.
No hands, green!
Sitting there for the All Blacks. And they have a drive through So'oialo.
Leave him! Leave him! Leave him! Leave him! Leave him!
They're pushing and shoving off the ball.
Leave him! Leave him!
Time out.
Penalty.
Captain, please. Come here, and this man. Come here. The first one, I couldn't get an accurate picture of who was holding who, but he definitely was holding their hooker. And now it's exactly the same thing. When you're in possession, you're taking out their first defender.
So I think that's pretty clear.
Yep, and fair enough too. Quite bizarre there for a while. Jonathan Kaplan, he was worried about two plays. He almost let the ball just keep on going. This is the end of it. There's So'oialo on a Driscoll. And I think because of the previous incident with Tialata, Kaplan just had enough and he was going to get somebody no matter who and how bad the offence was.
3 changes coming up here, 1 for Ireland, 18 for 6. So that's Mick O'Driscoll for Neil Best and for the All Blacks. David Hill in 21 for Luke McAlister and Andrew Hore in 16 too for Keven Mealamu.
So a test debut for David Hill. Has been in the All Blacks before, but this is his first taste of Test rugby. As
Interfering with the jumper.
Is made, and a penalty, another penalty against the All Blacks. Ten-point lead with just over 5 minutes remaining.
Rawlinson just enough to put O'Connell off. He's had a big game, O'Connell.
Here's a moment. Isaac Bosson 20 for Peter Stringer for Ireland.
So changes all over the place now. And what a big moment for Isaac Boss. We've seen him over a period of many years playing first-class rugby here in New Zealand for Waikato, the Chiefs, the Hurricanes, and now a test debut for him. He's going to get an early touch too. Feeds it away to O'Gara, who drops it again onto the boot. Rokocoko going back. Just inside the 22. Kelleher. And Major makes the kick.
4 minutes to go. Ireland got to score twice. Looking for every opportunity they can get. I think their best bet just to keep the ball in hand at the moment.
Well, they made a line tonight, Drake, here, the fact that they tend to fall over in the second test of a series.
Absolutely. They've done themselves proud tonight. And it's not over.
Flannery throws. They've won the line out again.
Okay, roll away here, roll away.
And it's All Black ball as Kelleher gets it, and there's not much back in defence as Howlett comes chasing through on Gervin Dempsey, and he's put it into touch. He left it behind, but his feet were out. The All Blacks won it quickly, Newby, but in the finish it'll be a conventional line out. Good chase here by Doug Howlett.
The work was done at the line out because they got the turnover, the All Blacks. That was vital. Ireland were looking to mount an attack and they couldn't do it.
This man over. Over, please.
So Andrew Hore, replacement for Keven Mealamu, to throw. Lobs it in. Again, Richie McCaw probably come up with the most line-out takes for the All Blacks tonight. They really have mixed it up. 7 different jumpers for the All Blacks tonight. Makes a bit of pressure off the likes of Chris Jack as McCaw takes it to the setup. Kelleher away for David Hill. Major. Laulala looking to get through, but O'Driscoll and Darcy have held him up and put him away, and the ball turned over. And Ireland have an opportunity down the right wing side. But it breaks down and the flag is up.
Well, this was clever from Ireland. They held him up. Sandwich tackle. Good strength from the midfielders. Look, that's Darcy who gets it.
All over. Over now.
Just a couple of minutes left in the test match. The Irish will move on to play Australia in Perth next week. And the alternative All Black team already in Argentina for a test match there. Live on Sky. As the All Blacks turn it over.
Roll away 3.
Untidy finish.
It's over.
As O'Gara goes for a run. Kick and chase, but Kelleher back. He's had a busy night, Byron Kelleher, and off he goes again. All Blacks looking for quick ball to clear it out. They do. Major to Hill. Hayman in midfield. Took it in pretty high and gets held up.
Roll away 8.
Now he lays it back. Jack fires the pass to Laulala, looking to step his way through. Hasn't found too many gaps tonight, Casey Laulala. Well contained. Ball played on the ground quite clearly. So time obviously to kick it out and have a line out. And that will be it, one would imagine. Next time dead. All Blacks hold on and win this game. 18 consecutive wins, their best ever home record. And they haven't lost here at Eden Park since 1994 when France beat them. So that'll be 14 consecutive wins at Eden Park. As Ireland looking to finish with a flourish. O'Gara finds a bit of a gap, but it closes. Snapped up by Boss. The siren indicates time is up. Ireland with one last crack at it. Ball comes back. Boss to O'Gara. O'Driscoll. Now Flannery straight into McCaw. They try to ride him across the touchline, but he doesn't quite get there. Ball still alive. Boss. O'Gara. Murphy. Plenty of black jerseys there though. Back again this time for Horgan. Horgan looking to stand in the tackle. Now Isaac Boss again, probing across field.
18, leave it 18.
Flannery takes an extra metre, ball bounces clear, but it's not forward. There it is again. Big John Hayes has a go, and he runs into his own man. And so I think that might be it. It is indeed. Jonathan Kaplan blows the whistle. It's been an exhausting test match. Smiles up in the coach's box. More relief possibly than anything else. Richie McCaw leads the All Blacks to the victory here tonight by 27 points to 17.
Memorable test, you'd have to say. The All Blacks really put to the sword by this Irish team. Very gallant. Didn't probably get the rub of the green that they would have wanted, but they kept on fighting. The All Blacks, well, started off very well in my opinion. Good set pieces, line-outs working well. As the game went on, it didn't probably kick on as well as they would have. They set the platform in the first half and really couldn't capitalise on that in the second half. Ireland Well, they'll be disappointed, but they will have shown that they will be competitive, and looking towards the World Cup next year, they'll be on the money somewhere, I'm sure.
Yep, it was a tough test match for certain. 20 points to 14 at half-time. Low scoring second half, 27-17. Let's hear now from the All Black skipper, Richie McCaw.
Richie, a difficult night on the basis of the conditions, first of all, and then another fighting performance for Ireland.
Yeah, it was, I guess the conditions meant it was a bit of ball slipping around all over the show, but you know, it was just a real old test match, and we had to grind it out.
You've been very pleased with particularly the first 35 minutes. You wanted to start the game strongly, and probably that was where you showed the most continuity. Yeah, we did, and but to Ireland's credit, they fought back and put us under pressure, and we perhaps played a little bit of footy in our own half near the break. So yeah, I guess the other things, but we're happy to get away with it. Use the key tactics to try and kick downfield, keep the ball in play very early on in the game, but then it became apparent as it got greasier that maybe the sideline could have been your friend. Yeah, we tried not to put the ball out. We wanted to put them under pressure in their own half, but you know, on nights like tonight where it's a bit slippery line out time, it can make it difficult. So you know, I guess the other things you got to weigh up when you're in the heat of things. Performance based also around a very strong scrum. Yeah, and I thought the last 2 weeks have scrum pretty well, and you know, we got a couple of crucial turnovers there as well. Now you get to put your feet up and watch the boys in Argentina. Yeah, so well, it'll be interesting, but the last 2 weeks has been great. 2 good weeks, Richie. Well done. Cheers, Billy.
So it's been a big tour for the Irish. They've been highly competitive in both test matches, and so they win their way from the fields, and as I said before, head to Australia to take on the Wallabies in Perth next weekend. And for these All Blacks, well, they can, as Smithy said, put their feet up, although some of them will be joining the rest of the party in Argentina. It remains to be seen who they are, as the All Blacks have a little team session before they leave the field.
Well, and they know they've been in a test match, and I'm sure that's what Richie McCaw will be saying. They've had to battle hard tonight and last week. He's doing the talking. He'll say, just remember what it's like, and you've got to say, when the squeeze came on to them, they did respond well, they did get the points, and they did go away with it.
So the little team moment is over, and the All Blacks have maintained their unbeaten record against the Irish, 27-17 at Eden Park.
And ahead, they sure as heck got them from the Irish. 27-17 the final score here at Eden Park. The All Blacks win it, but the Irish surely can go home with their heads held high after another gallant performance. They weren't good enough to win it, but once again, Warren Gatland, they were good enough to give the All Blacks a lot of problems.
Yeah, I think they played really well, and I suppose it was a reflection of last week's performance. There's not a lot of difference between these two teams. Graham Henry said they're the best team in the Northern Hemisphere, and I think today we saw that they probably are one of the best teams in the Northern Hemisphere.
Well, the All Blacks looked as though they were well set up to go on and win the game comfortably, Murray, but that the Irish came back just before half-time. What was it, do you think, that was the call? Did the Irish just lift their game, or did the All Blacks drop theirs?
I think the Irish certainly showed a lot of character, which kept them in the game, and sometimes in conditions like we had tonight, it's not an advantage to have more possession, and I think it's difficult to play constructive rugby. I mean, the All Blacks laid a great platform in that first 20 minutes to go and have a good victory, and had the conditions been fine, I think they would have had a really big victory, and you might see the legacy of this in Australia next week if it's hard and fast. Now, I wouldn't come down on the All Blacks tonight. I think that they played really well. They dominated possession, which I think, and territory. They wanted to play for field position, but they made mistakes under pressure, I think, and the Irish created some of those mistakes, but I think all in all it was a great contest.
It was just that inspired patch, wasn't it, just before half-time that changed the game, Warren, because, as I say, the All Blacks were looking comfortable, but the Irish, by getting the score close, again managed to turn it into a scrap, just like they did in Hamilton last week.
I thought at one stage it looked like the All Blacks were going to win by 25, 30 points. You know, they started a couple of really good examples of some really good captaincy tonight. I mean, the Ireland had a chance to go for a shot at goal. They kicked for the corner, got a pretty soft try in terms of the 7 points from that line-out drive. And then there was a really good example of Richie McCaw when the All Blacks were 2017, and he just went for the line-out, then he went for the scrum, and Luke McAlister scored from that scrum. So couple of really good captaincy decisions tonight.
And that was a crucial point in the game too. When Luke McAlister scored that try, it meant that Ireland would have to chase the game, and in these conditions that would not be easy.
And I think we saw a game plan tonight. I was complaining pre-match that we didn't see a game plan and pattern last week at all. It was helter-skelter. Tonight we clearly saw that they were playing for position on the field, and once they had position they were attacking that channel 1, outside ruck and maul, outside scrum, and that's where the break came for sure. I mean, he had a go at O'Gara, he's a great runner. He's so strong, he's so powerful, and the way the game is moving at the moment, it's a great advantage to have a powerful runner at first 5'8" if he can establish a pattern and drive a game.
Yeah, well, probably notable too that 2 missed tackles proved crucial in this series. Last week, the first tackle missed by Mils Muliaina by O'Gara, and then again tonight, Luke McAlister. But let's hear from the gallant Irish captain, Brian O'Driscoll, who's really shown his class on this short tour of New Zealand. Brian O'Driscoll with Ian Smith.
Thanks, Tony. I guess a bit of deja vu for you, Brian. Very similar to 7 days ago.
Yeah, I suppose a little bit. It certainly wasn't vintage from either teammate there today. It was very difficult conditions, but having fought our way back into the game, we conceded a soft try and essentially threw it away from our point of view. When you get down to the last 5 minutes and there's one score in it, anything can go, but to have conceded as soft a try as we did is very disappointing.
17-0, a lot of pundits were writing you off at that point. Obviously this side of yours has got a fair amount of character.
Yeah, we do. I think we've built that in the last few years. I don't think you can ever count this side out. And we realised that when we got one score and then a second, we just played our way back into it. And I guess to a point we might have gotten the All Blacks doubting themselves a little bit again. But an element of us really letting ourselves down, and an element of them showing what they're worth by closing the game out in the last few minutes. Finished as a disappointing series from our point of view.
2 things that maybe worry you. One, the scrum. That obviously very hard to combat a scrum going backwards for that length of time.
Yeah, well, it's certainly not my area of expertise, so I don't think I'll throw my tuppence worth into it. But yeah, it's vital to have your first phase possession, and obviously the Kiwi scrum was very strong, and at times it really disrupted our first phase ball. But on the flip side of that, I thought our line out was very good today. We disrupted an awful lot of their ball too. So you always have something to work on. If you don't have that, you're a complete team, and we're far from that.
Tactical kicking became an interesting ploy. It looked like the All Blacks wanted to keep the ball in play for long periods of time, whereas you were obviously a lot keener to use the sideline and use the slippery nature of the surface.
Yeah, well, at times it was a liability having the ball, so the best form of attack at times was to kick the ball and just try and have a good defensive line and put pressure on that way. You saw, I'd like to see the stats, but the amount of scrums that there must have been, down to knock-ons and little errors, I'm sure it was astronomical. But we try to play a percentage game. We feel as though we can mix our game up, and in dry conditions we can throw it around. But with one of the best kicking, probably the best kicking 10 in the world as well, it's good to ping the corners. And unfortunately, we didn't quite play enough possession in that first 20 minutes, and they kind of ran away with their first half lead.
As you hop on the plane to Perth tomorrow, what have you taken from this? A degree of confidence, results aside?
I suppose there's something to take from it. I think we realised that what we are capable of, to push the All Blacks as hard as we did. I suppose you do take something out of that, but at the same time we realised that another tour passes by and another missed opportunity, and in this circumstance we felt it was 2. I'm sure an awful lot of people had written us off after the first test, knowing that Irish teams tend to capitulate a bit in the second, but that wasn't this Irish team. And again, it's similar to last week, the dejected heads in that dressing room, because we really felt we had an opportunity of making history.
Brian, let's hope you can pick yourself up. You've got another battle next week in Perth against Australia. Thanks for your contribution in the last couple of weeks, and best wishes for your travels.
Thank you very much.
As he showed his class with his words and his deeds, as Brian O'Driscoll once again 3 tries to 2. The McAlister try was the key to the game. He converted all 3 as well. Luke McAlister nailed a couple of penalties, and in the end that was enough for a 27-17 win for the All Blacks over Ireland. Let's go back on the match highlights with commentator Grant Nisbet.
The first try came in the 6th minute, and it followed this drive for the line by Troy Flavell. He was held up just short, and the ball comes back to Byron Kelleher. And he goes low and hard in the driving rain, puts the ball on the line, and that's the opening try of the match. Then the All Blacks set it again, driving in close. And the ball comes to Chris Jack. He appears to get the ball knocked down and forward, and Clarke Dermody's on hands. And a big moment for the man from Southland as he scores the second try. Then Ireland came back. They took a tap penalty when they could have kicked for goal. And the ball goes here to Paul O'Connell. And he just keeps going. He stood up. He wasn't held. The All Blacks were a little bit confused. They looked at the referee. But O'Connell scores a fair try. And then just before half-time, Ireland attacking again. Once again, they passed up the opportunity to kick the goal. And this irresistible drive to the line. And it's in the arms of their hooker, Jerry Flannery. He scored the try. It was 20 points to 14 at half-time. Bit of a dust-up. Didn't come to very much. Just after the try was scored, they finally sorted it all out. And now we go towards the end of the game. 9 minutes remaining. There'd been no tries in the second half up until that point. The All Blacks had hammered away. So'oialo took it up and quickly freed away. And McAlister took his man on. O'Gara couldn't hold him. And that was the try that sealed the game for the All Blacks. 27 points to 17 as John Drake looks now at the statistics.
And look at the stats. Very, very close test match, dramatic test match, and the stats kind of show that. Territory definitely favoured the All Blacks. Possession was even closer, and it really came down to the kicking game, which was so important. Kicks in play, both sides determined to kick the ball. We know how well O'Gara can kick it. He probably let himself down with a bit of his handling in his defence, but his kicking into the corners was so effective to keep Ireland in the game, particularly the last 10 minutes of the first half. And then the other crucial factor in a game like this is the penalties. Relatively high penalty count from both sides. In the conditions, understandable. A lot of those are at the ruck and maul time where you've got a lot of slipping and sliding. In the end, though, the All Blacks, they get through. They had showed the character in the vital 10 minutes of the second half. They got the points.
Yes, those last 10 minutes in both test matches proving to be crucial as the All Blacks win it 27-17, ninth successive test match victory. And of course, a new man, part of the series, part of the All Blacks setup for the first time, Southlander Clarke Dermody. Let's get his thoughts on it. He's with Smithy.
Thanks very much, Tony. Well, you'll be very happy in your camp, and yourself doubly so. Second test match, first try.
Yeah, it was a wee bit of a bonus, wasn't it? I was sort of just there to pick up the crumbs. It wasn't a bustling run or anything, but I think I'll take the first one anyway I can get it.
Just talk us through it, because it was Chris Jack, I think, made the initial surge, and there was a bit of debate over that, but we won't take any gloss off it from your point of view. They gave you a lot of room. Yeah, they did. Sort of just opened up. I didn't see any knock on or anything, so I was just there to finish off. Maybe there was going to be a scrum. I was just putting it down just for the sake of it, but when the whistle went, I was pretty wrapped. OK, let's talk about the last 2 weeks from your point of view, Clarke. A different environment for you, very competitive. As the word character has been thrown around a wee bit about both these sides. Yeah, it's. I mean, Ireland have brought a lot to the table in the last couple of weeks. They've been real physical up front, and after the games, we've definitely know we've been in a game, and they've been right in it to the end. And I think it's been exciting for the public to watch as well. Your area, which was crucial to the game tonight and last week, of course, was the scrumming battle. I think it's fair to say you won that. Yeah, I mean, it took a while to grind them down, though. You know, they're a big pack, so you know, it took a wee while to get into it. But we started to assert a wee bit of a dominance towards the end, and you know, we're happy with that. It's a vote of confidence, isn't it, when the skipper says you're 5 metres out for the line, crucial stage in a test match, has the option to kick into touch and trust the line out, trust the boys up front. Yeah, I'd gone off by then, mate. I would have loved to run back on, but the boys were, really getting dug in on that line, and it would have been good to get a pushover, but we scored with the backs in the end anyway, so we're pleased. 39 in the All Blacks set up at this stage. It's got to be cut to 30 at this point, but a hugely competitive environment across the whole squad. Yeah, that's right. I think that was the objective from selectors to bring new guys in, to push the incumbents. So hopefully we've done that and made the task difficult for them in the next couple of weeks to pick their 30. And they tell me your old man didn't trust you to score a try. He was running a tab down south or something. Yeah, I'm not sure how much it was, but I'm sure a fair share of it would have been gone by now. So just everyone back in Woodlands, have a good night. I'm sure you will too, Clarke. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, it'd be a great night for everyone down at Woodlands. It'd be a great night for the bloke who put 20,000 on the All Blacks to win 12 and under. I can tell you it was sure as hell wasn't any of us.
No, it definitely wasn't.
What are the All Blacks going to take out of this? Sure, public are going to say, oh, it wasn't good enough, that they only won it by 10 points. But do the All Blacks say, hey, this was another test of character and we got out of it and it wasn't our strongest team? Well, glass half full, glass half empty.
Yeah, half full, I suppose. I mean, undefeated here in 12 years, Eden Park, so that's a great result. Again, players on trial, the Tri Nations squad's going to pick, when are they going to start picking the best 15? Is the debate all week going to be over the centres again? Lala against Nonu, and how well did he play? I'm not sure if that was a success, and that's going to create some debate too. So, next week's a game against Argentina, so that's going to be important for those players who get that opportunity next week.
Murray, you're a bloke who always looks on the bright side of life. Glass half full, glass half empty.
Oh, absolutely half full. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, the biggest risk with having 39 players is that you drop a test. And that's pretty hard news for an All Black team to drop a test. It hurts. If you're in a team and you lose, it hurts, because the whole country feels it. And they didn't do that. They've won and they've developed character, Tony, and there's a lot of players that have come through. I mean, I agree with you. I don't think the centre position has been resolved yet, but a lot of things have been resolved. They've found out a lot more, and we came away in poor conditions with 2 victories, so you'd have to say it's a bonus.
It's a real test in the midfield, wasn't it, up against that outstanding combination of Darcy and O'Driscoll. Let's get the thoughts of the All Blacks midfield general, Aaron Mauger. He's with Smithy.
Well, Tony, thanks for that. We're just talking, Aaron and I, actually, about the nature of these 2 test matches. You've played in a lot of them, but these 2 as hard as any.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've had some good games against Australia and South Africa that have been close, and these 2 rate right up there, especially in terms of the physical side of things. They're sort of putting so much pressure around the ball, and I think the boys will be pretty sore.
Tactically, let's talk about the tactics initially. Obviously, you had to look to the heavens and decide the way you're going to play initially anyway.
Yeah, we like to use the ball, and that's just our style, but you've got to be a little bit conservative when you see the rain, especially the way it was bucking down during the warm-ups, changed our approach a little bit, so it certainly altered the way that we wanted to play the game.
When you kicked generally in the first 30 or so, you tried to keep the ball in play.
Yeah, that was the key, I think, managing to get the ball into the corners and make them chuck it out and try and get our forwards into the game with a couple of drives, and I think it worked pretty well, and we probably dominated with our forwards in the first 20 just through that area of the game.
That seemed to disappear a wee bit, didn't it? You tended to get, I hasten to say reckless, because I don't think it was reckless, but you went away from that game plan, and that brought them effectively back into it.
Yeah, I think we probably got a little bit of ahead of ourselves out there and maybe tried to push a couple of passes that we should have held on to. And to their credit, though, they played very well and they managed to pin the corners, and they did to us what we wanted to do to them. They pinned the corners and applied a bit of pressure, and through that came a couple of sort of soft tries for them, and it certainly gave us a bit of a wake-up call.
In midfield, you had 2 different partners, but you were up against 2 guys that gelled very well. I mean, if they had played with that level for the Lions, in midfield, that would have certainly changed things, I'm sure, a wee bit. Darcy, and alongside of him, the skipper, who's world class.
Yeah, they worked pretty well together, and obviously O'Driscoll's he's pretty sharp, and he had another good game tonight, and it was a good test for us. So I thought we sort of come through it pretty well. There weren't really too many holes out there. We sort of managed to nullify a few mistakes from last week on D, and but they showed their class still, especially in broken play. I think O'Driscoll probably still made a couple of breaks there and picked out a couple of fatties a few times, and that's what he's good at.
I guess the good thing, just to finish, is that you're winning these test matches and you're coming from situations where you're not comfortable to finish off strongly.
Yeah, definitely. There's some real steel and resilience on this side, and a lot of composure as well, which is probably the key. We managed to get together, a few of us along with Richie, and sort of just calm the boys down and focused on what we had to do, sort of the next task. And in the last 20 we managed to control that as well, and that's was probably the key for us. We spent a lot of time in their half attacking in the last 20, and the forwards just wore them down, and Lukey scored the try to finish it off.
Are you on a plane to Christchurch tomorrow or further east?
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say, but hopefully I'll be putting my feet up back down home.
Okay, we won't say it then. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck, Aaron.
Cheers.
Cheers.
There you go, the thoughts of Aaron Mauger on what he rates as tough a test as they've had for quite a while. And certainly Ireland have been a tougher ask than the Lions were last year, and just shows what a cohesive unit can do, other than that rather strange sort of setup that Clive Woodward brought with him last year. Let's look beneath some of those stats. Lineouts was an interesting one. The All Blacks won the lineouts 18-16. They used 7 different jumpers, which suggests they were trying a bit, and there were 2 clean steals each. But in amongst all that, the Irish did manage to disrupt the All Black lineout quite a bit. A lot of lineouts that they just did not win cleanly, lost the ball, that sort of thing.
I thought again the Irish lineout was really strong. And the All Blacks won the lineouts, I think, primarily because they didn't kick a lot of ball out, and also because the Irish were quite happy to kick the ball out and just slow the game down. I think the weather conditions probably again suited Ireland and kept them in the match for a lot of time as well.
Interesting, they used Richie McCaw a lot. 6 down the back, which is difficult in this weather, Murray.
Yeah,
and he's calling the lineouts.
Yeah, I was surprised. There were a number of times when we threw it deep, close to our goal line on a couple of occasions, which is ludicrous, really, in conditions like this. You're just adding so much more risk to winning possession. I'm not sure our line-out is complete yet. I don't think this is our top test line-out. In fact, what is our top test side, Tony? That's the problem, isn't it? We don't know. And, I mean, they have to start playing together sooner or later, don't they?
Well, they'll do that in the Tri-Nations, I guess. But, yeah, it was interesting tactics in the line-outs, as Murray said, to throw the ball long. But I suppose we do have to put it into context that the Irish do have an outstanding line-out.
We won the line-outs.
Well, yeah,
we won the line-outs
we threw into
18-16.
a lot more. We threw into more.
For sure.
Yeah. And the question is, you've got to ask Richie calling the lineouts as well. Is that the right tactic? There's a lot of pressure on the shoulders, captaining, making decisions, pretty confrontational position in terms of, he puts his body on the line at every sort of breakdown, every situation as well. So it's maybe some situation something they need to look at.
It's been a debate since year dot, though, who does throw the lineouts, because who call the lineouts, because if you have a lineout jumper, it puts pressure on him if he is a jumper. We saw Ruben Thorne stand up in those situations. Tonight we saw McCaw. He was the biggest line-out.
Murray, we'll have to interrupt you there because we're just going to try and get a quick word with Graham Henry before he heads off to the press conference. He's with Smithy.
Thanks very much, Tony. Well, first of all, Graham, only 20 minutes since it's all over. What are your impressions?
Oh, we're delighted. Delighted to win the series 2-0. We played better this week than we did last week. Probably tried to play too much rugby in the conditions. And the Irish are a very good side. So we're delighted to have won. You asked before the game for a better start. You certainly got a lot more continuity for a longer time.
Yeah, we did, and we were up 17-0 at one stage, and if we'd put another nail in the coffin, it may have opened up, but it wasn't to be. It just shows the spirit in the Irish side. They defended superbly, scored a couple of tries, got back at us, could have won the game, but boys came through again in the finish, which was great.
Clearly superior in the scrum, which would be pleasing again for you, I'd imagine.
Yeah, although that dominance didn't come through in the game really at scrum time. We gave away too many penalties as well, which made it difficult for ourselves.
We counted 7 options in the line-out, I guess, against a strong line-out like Ireland's. You have to try a few things, and Richie McCaw very dominant in the count.
Yeah, well, Richie's becoming a very good line-out player, so are the other loose forwards. We just need to get more solid in that area, obviously. It's something to work on, Smithy, for the future. Always something to work on, Graham, but by and large, as you review what's happened and you hop on a plane to Argentina, you're pretty satisfied with the last 2-week exercise? Oh, yeah, very much so. You know, we've got a strategy, as you know. I won't bore people with that strategy again, and we've come through winning 2 games with that strategy in mind, so that's great.
You've managed to debut a couple of 2 or 3 players in this series so far. Troy Flavell tonight, 50 minutes of honest toil for you?
Yeah, like he's still coming to it, I think, at this level. He hadn't locked the scrum for a long time, so he's still got some way to go.
How about in the centre area? Happy with what you've seen in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I thought Casey had a very good game tonight, very good defensively, broke the line 3 times. So he'd be pretty happy, I think.
Thanks for chatting to us, Graham. Enjoy the sunshine in Buenos Aires, eh? Leave this behind.
Thanks very much.
Cheers,
Yes, we look forward to bringing that test. In fact, we're looking forward to being in Buenos Aires next week to bring you the All Blacks test against Argentina, a different All Black side, completely different All Black side. And that's next Sunday we'll be bringing you that, and about 11:30 in the morning. And so it's something to look forward to, because I think they will pose a completely different kind of challenge to the All Blacks up front. And in Buenos Aires, they are not an easy side to beat at all.
They are very tough to beat in Buenos Aires, and Traditionally, we know how strong they've been up front in terms of scrummaging. By all accounts, against Wales, there was sort of biting, kicking, punching. They won that, I think, by 2 points or something against Wales. So it'll be a tough test match next week.
Yeah, I mean, I've got fond memories of Argentina, actually, but it's an extremely hard place to win. And when Graham Henry stood up and said, we think the sternest test is the Irish test, I disagreed with him. I think the hardest thing is going to beat Argentina in Argentina. But I think the team that's playing in Argentina is going to be marginally stronger than this side that played tonight. So it'll be bloody interesting. But the great thing about Argentina is it's a new frontier. It still is a new frontier. It doesn't have the same exposure. And it allows players to express that Latin business that you're talking about, and I mean, we can't even talk about it on television. It's so bizarre, but it's another element, and I think it's going to be a great experience for these players.
Oh, the interesting situation tonight at scrum time. Now, we've been watching the All Blacks over the last year or so develop the situation where they are the second team at scrum time to go down into the crouch position, and it seemed every time, as soon as they went down to the crouch, the referee called engage, and the All Blacks always got the impetus going into the engage. The Irish kind of did a double bluff on them tonight, didn't they?
I was talking to someone in the Irish camp, and the All Blacks have what's called a three-quarter set. They set three-quarter, they come down late, and apparently it's all to do with biomechanics, but coming in there, it's like a swimmer going off the blocks, come in late and you have a spring going in, so it helps your engagement, helps your power, helps your timing come in. And so the Irish felt they got caught last week, decided this week they were going to go down second and go down after the All Blacks. So I don't think it made much of a difference to the scrums of the All Blacks were very, very strong in that area, but it's interesting to in terms of the approaches of the two teams.
Okay, almost time to go, Murray. Your final thoughts, are you happy with what you've seen, or has it left a lot of questions unanswered over the last 2 weeks?
I'm delighted that the All Black team was able to win 2 tests without their first 15 playing. I'll be very, very interested to see how the team plays in Argentina, and I'm excited about it, actually, the challenge of Argentina for this team.
Okay, well, Rugby Channel viewers, you can view the press conference, but that's at the conclusion of the test match. Coming up next, it's Australia against England, but we'll leave you now from Eden Park. The All Blacks have won the series against Ireland 2-0.